Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and I'm happy we're going to be starting this new segment. I've been reading the book, Bobby Fischer's 60 Most Memorable Games. I've read it before. I'll read it again. I'll probably read it another time just for fun. These games are so beautiful. I'm happy I'm going to be able to share this with you with the YouTube video. This is all going to be about every single game. Not every game is going to be as far as you would call a gem, but with that being said, there's so much great things in these games that every game is a gem in itself. Maybe not as entertaining as you would think, but again, everything has a good lesson in here. So let's go and take a look at this first game. Bobby Fischer. I highly recommend, by the way, I do highly recommend you to buy the book. These games and recommendations, things that are what I see as a national chess master. Bobby's perspective, obviously, is going to be a bit better and also have some more things to say about this position. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this beautiful game. This is, and this one is dubbed, what is this one called? Too Little, Too Late, Fischer versus Sherwin in 1957. Here we go. We start off with e4, c5. Sicilian. We'll be seeing quite a few Sicilians here. It's funny, you know, I think about a lot of these games and I forget how much games he played with a Najdorf, which is just an insane variation, man. Knight f3, e6, d3, and here one of Bobby Fischer's favorite pet lines, he's going to be playing his King's Indian attack. He loves to play the King's Indian defense when he's black, but he also likes to play this d3 against it sometimes too. Here we go, knight c6, g3, simple system. Knight f6, bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, and castles. Typically what happens in these games is Bobby's going to be trying to keep the center closed, and with that being said, he's going to start a kingside attack. Now what does black try to do in these games? Well, black is going to try and open up the center, because the rule is when you attack on the wing, you open up the center, or vice versa. If they attack on the center, you attack on the wing. And so we're going to try to open this up and also open up on the queen side so we can start our counterplay. There's so many beautiful games where Bobby Fischer was able to stop his opponent and just do a very nice kingside attack. Knight b to d2 got played. Rook b8, a very nice move here. As we said before, black's plan is to push on the queen side. So here we go, b5, b4, a5, a4. It's up to you, or up to Bobby over here, to create his kingside attack. If he doesn't do anything, well, black's just going to steamroll over here. That being said, there's a few more preparations, but we're going to be pushing for a kingside attack. Rook to e1. This helps prepare a very important e5 pawn push over here. Now, there is a saying, if you have a pawn on e5, you should be attacking this king. And Bobby Fischer knows that, and he's going to be doing that pretty soon. d6 makes sense, right? He wants to stop this e5 pawn push. So Bobby just simply prepares it a little bit more. c3 to play d4 to play e5. All right, makes sense to me. b6, an interesting move here. I've seen many strong players play this. b5 is typically what I would be looking at being played, but b6 is definitely more reserved and definitely a safer choice. That being said, I might play b5 myself here. One of the bad prospects of being b5 is that, well, it gets in the way of the bishop, right? Well, that's okay. Maybe I'll play b4 as soon as possible, but again, it's going to take more time. And the more time you waste, the more time you give a great player like Bobby Fischer to attack you. So b6 got played, d4, queen c7, definitely not the best place for the queen in a lot of these lines, since sometimes the bishop will go to f4, putting pressure on it. And this one is, well, not going to be any exception. In fact, that's one of the ways he's going to be getting a very nice advantage against Sherwin in this game. Pawn to e5 here. I do want to point out here, maybe something that black could have done is try to take on d4 right away. So c takes, and then this opens up the queenside file, so maybe you can create some counterplay. With that being said, this file is opened up both ways. So already moves, when you move your bishop out, the rook can come out. White can actually have penetration squares over here too. All right, well, back to the game. Pawn to e5 got played, and knight to d5, a very nice move here. Remember the saying, to take is a mistake. In this case, maybe taking is an okay move, but it definitely helps out white. After d takes, the knight must move. You can go to d7, trying to put pressure on this pawn, but, well, knight e4 comes anyways. And taking this is going to be taboo after simple knight takes, and then bishop to f4. If f6 gets played with this pin, a lot of different things can happen, and computers are already giving this a +1 advantage. All right, back to the game. The take is a mistake. I like this move, knight to d5. Pawn takes on d6, and this works out so nicely here. the knight wants to go to e4 here, but it looks for a very nice tempo. Typically, breaking away your pawn structure in the center was not a good idea, but everything comes with an idea here. After e takes on d6, bishop takes on d6. Here comes the knight to e4. And you can see the knight's going to be looking at g5. The knight's looking to take on d6. Hey, if Bobby Fischer can get the bishop pair, he's more than happy to do that. You know, the stronger you are as a chess player, the more outs you have. Meaning, there's different ways to get advantages or accumulate, put ideas together to get even more advantages. So little things like this, Bobby Fischer will not be missing. All right, pawn to c4, and I can tell you this is a terrible move. Why is this terrible? Well, remember, we talked about this earlier. Whenever you're trying to create crown and play as black, you need to open up the center and go queenside. Now, this c4 move in the long term will work. Black will get the counterplay. The problem is, well, white now has the center closed, and they can just concentrate on kingside attack. And, well, if your opponent doesn't come up with any attacking ideas, then you should be okay. I agree. But what if your opponent does come up with good attacking ideas? Be careful. c4 got played. This does close it, but this is exactly what Bobby wants. And you know what? Like he said, I want to take the bishop pair. So knight takes on d6, queen takes on d6. Here comes the attack, knight to g5. A very nice move here, trying to provoke any kind of kingside pawn weaknesses. If you play h6, perfect. Now I can look about bishop takes h6 sacrifice in the future. Play g6, great. Now I have dark square weaknesses I can try to attack. And here the simple move is queen h5. Again, just trying to create any kind of weaknesses on the king side. Sherwin's playing very good by not moving any pawns in front of the king. Also, the knight looks good because it might jump back over here and again put pressure on this queen over here. Well, black played knight e7. Not a good move. And here a nice simple move. Again, trying to provoke and create weaknesses. Let's develop this queen. Let's make a threat. Should we go queen c2 here or go to queen h5? One of these is good. The other one is much better. Which one do we do? All right. If you play queen h5 here, this move is okay. But, well, there's a few good moves here. Let's just go ahead and say h6 gets played. Knight to e4. And, I don't know, queen c7. Now, this looks pretty juicy. Bishop takes h6 ideas. Unfortunately, these are not going to be working out too well here. And, well, what's the queen going to do over here if the bishop sacrifice doesn't go through? White maintains a small advantage here. Queen c2, beautiful move. Notice h6 is no longer a move because, well, if they do this, they just get checkmated, right? Which only leaves two other moves here. Well, one, if you're thinking about this strategic, you could either play f5 or g6. Well, g6 gets played in the game. What's wrong with f5? Oof, hopefully you can see this terrible looking backwards pawn and open file here. And, well, you can just milk this for the rest of the game. You don't even need a kingside attack anymore. You can just attack this guy over here. Ideas like playing f4, doubling the rooks. And these are very natural, a long-term weakness that you can just attack easily. With that being said, g6, again, the dark squares are weak already after knight e4. Bishop jumps in, the knight has these squares. Black tried to get creative here and played knight to g6. Simple chess here. The knight is the thing blocking you from doing this checkmate. So if you can get rid of the knight, well, then you can threaten this again. So what do you play? Hopefully you guys who've been studying with the new computers know the move here. Of course, we're going to play pawn to h4. Look at this beautiful move. h4, h5, and now we're gaining kingside space and also attacking. Also, if you're King's Indian player, this move is very natural too. Playing h4 just gains a lot of kingside space. All right, game continues. What are we doing here? Black played knight f6. Makes sense. It covers the h5 push, and yeah, we should just be okay here, right? Uh-oh. It's Fischer time. White to move and create the winning plan or attack. Can you find the idea? Remember, I do encourage you to push pawns. To push pause on this and try to see if you can find what Fischer found here. It's so great because, again, this looks like it's just a nice dry position. Nothing weird's going to happen. But hopefully, someone's been looking at this idea about playing bishop to f4. Right? Bishop f4 is a nice, simple tactic. All it's going to do is skewer and win, right? But when you see these kind of ideas, you need to try not only to say, well, it doesn't work. You need to find out how to make it work. So with that being said, this knight's getting pinned over here. If you put all the ideas together, you find this amazing move to break through. Knight takes on h7. What? Okay, doesn't just king takes? Well, king takes if you want to allow bishop to f4. Remember, it's being pinned now. And, well, yeah, black has nothing better. Computers are saying just go ahead and give away the queen here, which is pretty terrible. All right. So we can't go king takes, but doesn't that just leave knight takes? It does. All right, what do you play here? We want to play bishop f4, but we can't because the knight. So what do you play? Simple chess. Pawn to h5 and knight to h4 exclam. This is black's best try. If you move anywhere else, you're going to allow bishop f4, losing the exchange, and you also have lost a pawn, and your king side is getting a little bit weakened over there too. Oh my gosh. This Fischer guy's a pretty good player, huh? So knight h4 got played, a very interesting move. If you take, well then I can't play bishop f4 anymore. Well, what do we do? Look for forced moves here. Here we go. Bishop to f4 anyways. Alright, queen move to d8, defending over here. And, well, g takes on h4 here. What? Well, in the book it gives a really interesting line, which we could take a look at real quick. Although, this is, pretty... you have to ask yourself, why not take the rook here? Well, after taking on b8, here black has a lot of good ideas. Mainly being, computer doesn't take long to find this line. Knight takes on g2. Okay, king takes, bishop b7 check. And here in this position you can, well, hopefully you can feel these light squares are very, very weak. In fact, taking on b8, not even the best move. Queen d5, on the other hand, you can see that there's going to be a lot of light square weaknesses and a lot of problems here for Fischer. This is not the way that you win material. All right, so Fischer simply takes back. The rook is hanging, so rook to b7. If you have to lose your rook, you might as well get the best bishop, and that one is easily going to be this light square bishop. Why? Excuse me. The reason why this bishop is so strong is because, well, it's one of its main defenders, right? Well, be careful. You're playing against the great Fischer here, and Fischer is not stopping this attack. He has the bishop pair. He's got kingside space. Here we go. Pawn to h6. Beautiful move. Queen takes on h4. H takes on g7. This king is definitely losing all its defenders. King takes on g7. And, well, now we just have a recipe for a strong attack. White to move. Let's keep it going. All right. Hopefully you're starting to piece this together. Please don't take this. Please don't take the rook. Again, all you're doing is helping your opponent get this strong attack in. Look for your own strong threats here. Here, the idea is to defend the bishop, but also start bringing over pieces to attack this king, since he is losing all his protection. So a nice tempo move here. Rook to e4. Not only does it get ready to attack the queen and also defend the bishop, but it comes with a nice tactic. Simple chess, bishop e5 check, and then attacking the queen. Well, queen h5 was played. Of course, f5 again is just losing. Check right over here, right? So, queen h5, and let's keep this attack going. What do you play here? This one's a little hard to see. Rook to e3. There is no penetration square with the rook really getting to the g4 here. So nice and simple. The rook needs to get to g3 to keep the attack going. So rook e3, pawn to f5. We're trying to take away this diagonal for the queen, and also just trying to gain some kingside space. So maybe the rook can slide over here. Again, if you're having to play moves like this, things have gone wrong. White to move, rook to h3, attacking the queen. Nice tempo. Hopefully no one here makes the simple mistake of queen to g6, rook to g3. Yes, bishop h6 is also a move, but rook g3 is just nice and simple. So Sherwin sees this and goes ahead and plays queen to e8. All right, white to move. What should you do? I'll give you a few moves here. You just tell me which one you think is best. Should we go bishop h6 check here, grab the exchange? Should we play rook g3 check, continuing the attack? Or bishop to e5 check, attacking again, but this way? Which one do you think is best? Well, for those of you who said bishop h6 check, this is a winning line, just not the best. Here, the game will take a little bit longer, just because you're trading off in a very advantageous position. If you play correctly here, you can either get a checkmate, or maybe win a piece, or maybe even win your opponent's queen. By taking the check here and taking the rook off, again, you're making the game easier for your opponent because it gives them more defensive chances. Because this is not a direct blow to win the game. Sorry, guys. Rook to g3 check. Not a bad idea, but now, I guess the king can run this way, and where's the next check at? See, you always have to be thinking about the next move here, and unfortunately, there's no more checks here. With that being said, white is still in a winning position. The top move in the position, and also the move that Fischer makes, bishop b5 check, I definitely like this move. It stops the king from ever running over to the corner, and the king, well, where does it go to? it really has to. You only really have one move here because the knight's hanging because of the rook. You have to play knight to f6, and now you have a target. What do I mean by target? Well, we know the rule of whenever there's an undefended piece, do an attack against it, especially if there's two undefended pieces. Think of it as a double attack, right? Well, the same thing goes whenever you have one attacker on a piece. This knight now becomes a target because if you have the second attacker, well, then it's just going to be winning a piece. So here, a very nice move. Let's bring in some reinforcements. What do we play here? Nice idea. Queen to d2, threatening queen g5 check, which is pretty much just winning the game. Here, black played king f7, queen to g5, queen to e7, and now, I'll give you the last question of the game. White to move and win some material. What do you play here? The computer's giving another line here too, but I like the human way of playing here because, well, I'm a human. White to move and win here. What do you play? Well, for those of you who didn't push pause, let's go ahead and go through it. We are going to go ahead and play. Bishop takes on f6. A forced moves here. Remember, always look for checks, captures, and threats. After bishop takes on f6, queen takes. This was the idea. The rook's already being attacked once, so we just need a second attacker. Rook to h7 check. King to e8. Queen takes, of course. If you don't take back, you're just losing. Rook takes on h7. Again, if rook takes over here, rook takes, you're going to be up a whole extra bishop here. The game is pretty much over. Well, the game's pretty much over this other way too. Black had some hopes though. After queen takes, rook takes. One last move here to finish the game off strong. Bishop to c6 check, and there really is nothing that you can do here. Any way that you block is just going to be losing more material. For instance, after bishop to d7, you have queen takes on e6 check. I guess king has to go to d8. If you go rook e7 check, there's another piece that's lost right there. Bishop takes, queen d6, and yeah, things are just not going well here. What happens if rook to d7? I mean, rook d7 again is just the same thing. You can take on d7 check right away. You can play queen takes e6 check right away. Yeah, this is just a lost position. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our first game from Bobby Fischer's My 60 Most Memorable Games. I'm really excited about this project. Say what you will. Maybe some of you guys might not like Fischer personally because of his religious views and everything. I totally agree with you. With that being said, he's still a great chess player, and I do respect him as that. All the other stuff that he done, I don't condone it at all, and I think it's appalling. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.